Medusa is the protagonist of one of the most popular stories from Greek mythology. And contrary to most of the other characters from these stories, she's not a god nor a monster. She's actually human, a beautiful woman. There were many women in Athens of incredible beauty, but none compared to Medusa. She was desired and contended for, and envied by many. Her hair flowed wondrously and shined gracefully. It was uncomfortable for other people to see how comfortable she was with her own beauty.
Medusa was a loyal woman who spent her youth dedicated not to a god, but a goddess, Athena, who she believed was the strongest of all the Olympians. And in return, Athena respected Medusa as a beautiful woman who chose a female goddess instead of any man. However, one of the greatest feuds in all of Olympus was about to be taken Medusa's story in a dramatically different direction. The rivalry between Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, and Poseidon, god of the sea, ruined many lives. His cruel wrath crossed paths with Medusa when she traveled to the most beautiful temple in Athens. This incredible shrine was dedicated to Athena and all that she provided.
As Medusa entered the Parthenon, she was awed by the powerful beauty of such a monument. The temple, filled with great works of art, was tribute to the goddess Athena for protecting and inspiring the city. Yet it was there that Poseidon
forced himself on Medusa, wrongfully claiming her as his partner forever.
The goddess Athena couldn't bear to watch. Poseidon's plan was in fact to humiliate Athena,
and he indeed succeeded to do so.
Athena looked down in anger and cursed Medusa for betraying her.
Athena was notoriously competitive and hostile to other women, who would challenge her undivided attention.
Taken by jealousy for Medusa having surrendered to her greatest rival, instead of supporting the victim of this horrible violence, she punished her.
Using divine power, she changed Medusa's hair to hard serpents. She cursed Medusa with the legs of a bird and matching giant metal wings.
And to make it even harder on Medusa, she made sure Medusa's incomparable beauty could still shine through her stunningly intense eyes,
making it impossible for anyone not to look at her, even herself. Even you, Medusa, should you seek your reflection, shall turn to rock the instant you see your face, Athena said.
Medusa was banished to an island on the ocean edge along with her two sisters.
In Greek mythology, they became known as the Gorgons. And while her sisters were made immortal, Medusa was left mortal, isolated by her lethal gaze.
Many years later, a man named Perseus came to Medusa's remote island.
He had been sent by the evil king Polydectes for an impossible mission: capture Medusa's head. The gods offered him winged sandals, an unbreakable sword, and most importantly, Athena's reflected shield.
So he would not have to look straight into Medusa's eyes.
Perseus finally reached the Hesperides, who provided him with two more indispensable weapons gifted with divine powers. One was the cap of Hades, which would make him invincible. The other was a magic pouch to safely contain Medusa's head. On his left arm, he wore the shield that Athena gave him, a silver shield as shiny as a mirror. Plain, simple, without any marking to reflect anything in it. Now confident in his chances of finding Medusa, Perseus left the Hesperides garden to proceed west near the setting sun towards the Gorgon's cave. He jumped into the air and ran further than the eye could see, crossing the golden desert dunes, over the bright sea, until he reached the shores of a distant ocean.
Perseus realized he neared his destination only once he began to notice the terrifying shapes of the men and animals who had been transformed into stone. He proceeded further towards the sleeping Medusa until he reached a cold, darkened part of the cavern. There, on the rocks, he found the Gorgon sleeping. At first sight of the sisters, even through the reflection of his shield, Perseus froze with terror.
Two of the Gorgons were laying down, shaped as women, yet their bodies intertwined like snakes. Perseus noticed they had talons for hands and dragon claws for feet. On their shoulders were sharp metallic wings. The most terrifying part were their faces. Their faces were not of a serpent nor a woman, but both blurred together. Perseus then saw Medusa, and unlike her sisters, the snakes on her head wouldn't stop slithering. It was like she could not escape from a bad dream. Medusa's mere sight terrified Perseus. As he couldn't stop looking at her reflection through his shield, he hovered over her head with his sword, but his arms were frozen in awe and terror. He couldn't strike.
Perseus closed his eyes, not having the courage to face her vision, and asked, "What is your name?"
Medusa, she replied. As she finished her name, Perseus took her head off, grabbed Medusa's head by her lifeless snake head, dropped it in his sack, and fled.
The two immortal Gorgons lunged at him, their sharp claws scraping his shiny shield, but they were unable to see the man who slayed their sister. Hades' invisible cap made Perseus impossible to catch. Desperate, he escaped the Gorgon's rage to avenge their sister.
By now, Perseus was far out to sea, blown by the winds towards the island he left long ago. There, the king Polydectes had wasted no time. At Perseus' departure, he asked his mother Danae to become his wife, and threatened her when she refused. Danae escaped by hiding out indefinitely. This is how things developed by the time Perseus returned. He learned his quest was really a plot by Polydectes to remove of him. Now, the cruel king was furious to see Perseus alive and didn't believe he had defeated the powerful Medusa. Indeed, the power of Medusa was impossible to stop. Perseus knew that, and enraged by the story of his mother's mistreatment, channeled the Medusa to defeat the one who asked him to kill her. "You asked me for Medusa's head? Here it is." He lifted the mythical head, and Polydectes became stone.
When Perseus returned his shield to Athena, she also asked for Medusa's head. Ultimately, in awe of Medusa's timeless power, Athena hung the head on the symbol she is till today most known for, her war shield. Since then, the stunningly beautiful face and head of vipers created by her own rage has become a warning of feminine vengeance. Athena, the most powerful goddess, knew Medusa was the only woman she had ever feared. A woman whose incomparable feminine beauty and undefeatable power coexist as never before. And this is why Gianni, from the moment he saw her gaze, chose as a symbol for his legacy of freedom.